Yo, what is going on, guys? I want to give you some updates on some trade deadline rumors and more news on the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's get straight into it.
We better do it. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. The bye week, getting through this bye week for the Philadelphia Eagles. This team hopefully getting healthier and healthier by the day, which is good. This was a well-needed bye for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, want to go over some trade deadline news. I know we went over some things the past couple of days when it comes to Robert Quinn, when it comes to getting some more defensive line help. But there could be another player that they could be interested in. It's not a high ranking type player in the league or anything like that, but definitely a player that is well needed. When it comes to maybe wide receiver depth, or not really much of that, but more of special teams. So I think that's what's really important right now. You have Marquez Callaway from the Saints, which is an interesting one. 24 years old, 6'2", 204 pounds. Very young still, and is a punt returner for the Saints as of right now. He is the number 4 receiver. Deontay Harry, the all-pro return specialist, is on IR, so Callaway has been taking his spot at the punt returns this past season. So until he gets back, Callaway will probably not get much playing time by the time he gets back. So this is probably one of the trades where it's going to be very underrated for the Eagles. And not just that, he could be a depth wide receiver as well. But to talk about his punt return, so he has punt returns for 149 yards, 10.6 a return, 4 kick returns for 94 yards, 23.5 per return. And he doesn't fumble the ball, which is really good. He was a big special teamer in college as well. Now, as a wide receiver, even last year, he had 46 catches for 698 yards, 15.2 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. So until Deontay Harry gets back, he will be the punt returner with the Saints, and when he does get back, he'll be nothing but a number 4 receiver that's probably going to get no playing time whatsoever. So the Eagles could make this trade. It's not going to cost much, but maybe Marquez Callaway is going to be a bigger upgrade than Britton Covey. Because, Covey, one of the most exciting undrafted free agents I was really excited about this past offseason. He's just too raw right now. And I don't know if I'm seeing anything. I don't really know if he's already muffed 2 punts as it is. I mean, kick returns, he's doing a little bit better because obviously he has more room on punt returns because our protection is so bad when it comes to special teams. I just feel like the Eagles need an upgrade. And we've already moved up Britton Covey 3 times. So if the Eagles make this trade, they put Covey to practice squad, they cannot move Covey up to the active roster anymore because they've already done it a few times already by rule. They can't do it. I mean, this might cost a day 3 pick, maybe a pick for next year if they can get away with that or something, a late day 3 pick or something if that's what they. I just think it's well needed special teams wise. I think changes are going to have to be made by next year anyway because I think I just lost his name in my head. I just had it. The special teams coordinator, definitely Michael Clay, has to go. I feel like he has to get fired. He's still part of that Chip Kelly tree. And I'm just not interested in having him back because it's just been pretty bad, especially last year when he gave excuses why they were starting Rager on punt returns last year and, just never really making that change. Now, I give the Eagles credit. They tried to do their homework this past offseason by getting Devin Allen, the speedster from Oregon, and trying to, have a couple guys do some returns. And the thing is, they still haven't done the one thing I wanted with special teams is put Boston Scott at punt returns. It's your Darren Sproles 2.0. When Boston Scott was with the Saints, he was a kick returner and a punt returner. I don't know if he was both all the time, but he definitely played both. And I don't see why they just never made that move. So Marquez Callaway not only could be a punt returner, but he could be your wide receiver for next year as well as a number 4 if they think he's better than Zach Pascal. Zach Pascal is on a 1-year deal right now. And look, sometimes he gets 1 to 2 catches, and sometimes he gets no catches. And that's just the way it is with him. He was cheap. He was $1.1 million for the year. That's Nick Sirianni's boy, because when Nick was the offensive coordinator for the Colts, Pascal was a number 3, went to a number 2, to a number 1, a 1 to a number 2. I mean, he's played almost every position at wide receiver. He's been in every, between the X, Y, and Z. He's played at every spot. And, I think he's been very reliable for us unless they want to extend him. As much as there's so many other players to extend, there's so many guys coming off the last year of their deals after this year in 2022. It's kind of crazy. So Marquez Callaway, you trade for him, something, a day 3 pick. I would try to at least give maybe a day 3 pick for next year or something. Acquire him, go get him, maybe put him at special teams and, see what he does. Keep him throughout this year, get him into camp next year, see what he could do. And really the big decision is, do they want to keep Marquez Callaway or do they want to, are they going to re-sign Zach Pascal as the number 4 receiver after this year? Obviously, Zach Pascal is going to be pretty cheap because he's barely getting any playing time. There's really no value in him when it comes to statistics. So I'm not really thinking too much about it. So this is definitely a player you can go get. Kind of sucks you have to give up a draft pick for him, but the Eagles have done so much to the Saints as it is between the big trade we had this offseason for their first-round pick, then getting, obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and now this could be a very underrated move for the Eagles, not only for, like I said, special teams, but for depth at wide receiver for your future if you don't sign Zach Pascal next year. So I haven't looked at Callaway's contract, but if obviously this is a player they could be interested in because this could be the last year of his deal, and he's probably really cheap. I don't see him being expensive even in the future of this team unless he becomes an all-pro returner or something like that. Because really, by the time Deontay Harry comes back, he's going to have no playing time. He's going to be sitting on the bench doing absolutely nothing unless there's an injury at wide receiver, and he'll come right in. So really, there's nowhere else for Marquez Callaway to go on that roster over there in New Orleans. So we'll see what happens. You guys let me know about that trade to see if it makes any sense and what would you give up for Marquez Callaway. But I thought it was interesting. I read up on him the other day that he could be a big target as well. So that's interesting. Secondly, I want to go over Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders did say, I'm obviously, players are going to say they want to be here the rest of their career, but it looks like Miles Sanders definitely wants to stay in Philadelphia. I don't know how this is going to happen. I really don't. Even though I don't think Gainwell will be a number, even if Miles Sanders walks into free agency, I just don't think that Kenneth Gainwell is a number 1 running back. I just don't see it. I think they could draft a running back between rounds 3 to 6. And obviously, if you want Bijan Robinson, you got to designate these 2 first-round picks to be really early. Unless he's a late first-round pick. I'm seeing he's going to be a late first round. He's a top 10, and I'm always very skeptical of drafting a running back in the top 10 unless he's obviously a big talent, and it looks like he is with like a mixture of Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey all in one running back with size and speed and agility, and Bijan Robinson, which is kind of amazing because I've watched a lot of tape on him. So I don't know what they're going to do here. It's you have an offensive line right now that's going to be ready for the next decade, especially when Cam Jurgens comes in at center next year. Lane Johnson's getting a little bit older. Dillard's going to be dealt. Driscoll could play 3 positions. You have depth. You have guys that have cross-train. You have guys that can play multiple positions in the back end of your offensive line with the depth that's there, which is a great thing. And thanks to Jeff Statland for all of that. A future Pro Bowl left tackle and Jordan Mailata. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good things to take out of this offensive line. So all you have to do is plug in players, because I think futuristically for this offense when it comes to running back, you're not going to have to pay running backs a mid-tier to a high-tier contract. To me, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think as of right now, Miles could walk. Look, because this is the second contract. He's going to be going into his second contract. Usually when these guys come off these rookie deals, this is where they make their money. This is the most important contract. It's your first, especially if you're playing a good year. It looks like Miles Sanders is going to have a really good year this year, knock on wood, for injuries and stuff like that from last year when we didn't know what was going to happen with Miles Sanders, after being out like 3 times last year and just injured way too much. And we figured that, maybe he was going to stay healthy this year. And, not much tread, guys, because really 2020 didn't run the ball. Doug didn't barely ran with Miles Sanders that year. 21, the first 6, 7 games, whatever, the first quarter of the season, Nick was the play caller and barely ran the football at all. Even though Nick was from a run-heavy offense with the Colts, Steichen was from a run-heavy offense with the Chargers, and I didn't get why they didn't run the ball last year. So a lot of energy and, a lot of juice left in Miles Sanders. Trust me on that this year, and we're seeing it. Tough running from Miles Sanders, almost breaking some runs very close. So I hope he definitely gets one this year. So this will be a very tough decision just going forward because there's so many guys that are free agents off our roster this year. There's a lot. And I don't know if running back is going to be the highest concern for the Eagles, even though he is a very valuable piece. Miles Sanders is one of my favorite players on this team. I'm just kind of preparing myself mentally, emotionally, that Miles could be walking after this year and he'll get paid a nice lump sum unless for some reason he wants to work something out where it helps himself but on a new contract, but it helps the Eagles to save cap space too, because you haven't even paid a quarterback yet beyond other positions we haven't even looked at yet of who's going to be a free agent, which we know a lot of players are going to be free agents. Okay. Hargrave, Cox, Edwards, Kaiser White, Epps, Garner Johnson, Bradbury. It's crazy. I mean, it's just insane how many free agents we're going to have. So, the Eagles might free up some cap space and might lock some players up for the future to make a run. And that's that's probably what's going to happen. So let me know what you guys think about the Miles Sanders situation. Because he did mention he talked the other day, and said he really wants to be here the rest of his career. And I don't blame him. And look, I know you're going to tell me, oh, well, that's what all of them are going to say. And I understand he's not going to say doesn't want to be here. I think he wants to be here the rest of his career. There's people that say, oh, I want to be here. And there's people that say, I want to be here the rest of my career. I think he does. I don't think he would hide that too much. I think he does want to be here. He loves this group. This is where he was drafted and doesn't want to go anywhere else. So obviously that Marquez Callaway, do you think that trade would happen? And what would you give up for him? Or would you just keep Britton Covey the whole entire year at special teams on the return specialist on both sides? If you think you would agree with that. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.